This topic is important to us because we do a lot of work with me, which is Memphis Investors Group, etc., and learning a little bit about the real estate industry. As I mentioned last week, the real estate industry is so important because when they're not selling real estate, we go into kind of like a mini depression. When the real estate is selling, like it has been, it leads us out of whatever mini depression we might be in. So we want to thank the realtors and the people that do property management, like we got Philip and Reed back here. So anyway, let me introduce my lovely wife who handles a lot of it. It's important to us, and it's important here for a lot of folks. There's about 35 people have a job every time a realtor sells a house. Sweetie?
Well, a couple things. New at Allstate, we now can write all breeds of dogs, and that has been a big stumbling block for a lot of insurance companies. So if you know somebody that's having a hard time getting insurance because they have a Rottweiler that's been a family pet for years, we can now help them. I want to put a different hat on, and that is our charity of choice, which is providing swim scholarships to underprivileged kids through the YMCA, and we are doing great. In fact, I think we have the swim coach from Colonial Middle to receive scholarships and money for their swim caps. But you know, it's fun to do fundraising, and we have a big one coming up December 6th. We usually have a Christmas party. Well, Miss Vanna is going Christmas shopping at Talk Shop. And for those of you who don't know Miss Vanna, she's an old bag, and we call it the Old Bag Auction. And Lance Walker will be here auctioning off old bags that are stuffed with good stuff. So all the weeks leading up to December 16th, we'll have more information about it. We're certainly looking for donations because we do stuff those old bags. Thanks.
Are you ready for the motivational moment there, CEO?
I am.
Okay, let's bring her up.
Well,
She is ready. Well, let's talk about a charity of choice before Joe gets up here. She left her book somewhere. I think it's over there, Joe. Is it next to the cookie?
yes, it's next to the coffee.
Charity of choice, YMCA. So we're going to be fortunate to see what all this money we've been raising goes to. You know, we had a neighbor here. I was talking to him. He had a 7-year-old boy. He had a pond in the back of his house out in the Cartyville area. And the boy walked right into the pond, but couldn't swim. Happened to be there. Sometimes you're at the right place. If the boy just kind of going down, he fell in, and he just was trying to struggle, and he had to jump in there and save him. And I thought, you know what? He'd had a swimming scholarship provided by all of us, where that life, because he was there, was saved. Could have been a really tough situation. So I look at it as so important because we've had 3 deaths this past summer, late spring and summer. Hey, Barb, come on in. Late spring and summer here in the Memphis area, people that drowned because they couldn't swim. So we're doing a good thing here at Talk Shop. Motivational moment. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Did I give you enough time?
You did.
Okay.
Most important, have coffee. That coffee and our pastries are provided by the food truck, by the confectionery, Eric Myers, who has another gig this morning, but he made sure we were fed and we had our coffee. So thank you, Eric. Moment. Spend 10 minutes a day doing absolutely nothing. This is by Dr. Richard
Now,
Carlson.
can anybody get into that?
Don't sweat the small stuff at work. So I'll bet you're already thinking, I could never do that. He doesn't understand how busy I am. If so, I'm happy to tell you that you're off base on all counts. The truth is, I absolutely understand how busy you must be, and I'm certainly bound by any doubt that 10 minutes of doing absolutely nothing can be the most productive 10 minutes of your entire day. It's precisely because you are busy that spending 10 minutes a day doing nothing is such a great idea. Spending a few minutes doing nothing, sitting still, and embracing the silence helps prevent you from falling apart. Thank you. It gives you a chance to regain your perspective and to access a quiet part of your brain where your wisdom and your common common sense exist. When you sit still and do nothing, it allows your mind the opportunity to sort things out and settle down a little bit. It turns what usually looks like chaos into a more manageable moment. One of the most successful CEOs I've ever met does just this. Every day, regardless of how busy he is, he picks a time to enjoy his few minutes of quiet, and he realizes that the busier he is, the more that 10 minutes of quiet is actually needed. He jokingly told me, my quiet time has me realize how much idle chatter runs through my mind, mostly nonsense. How many can attest to that one? Clearly, all that noise gets in the way of my being able to see right to the heart of the matter. A few minutes of doing nothing usually cuts through all that clutter. Clearly, there are times when we're trying too hard or we're just moving too fast. Yet, one of the most powerful and sure ways to achieve even more success in your life is to do absolutely nothing for a few minutes a day. You won't believe what you will discover. Thank you. Troy?
All right, well, it's time for the individual introduction. So here's our financial guru that has set all types of financial records for his customer, John with Edward Jones.
Thank you, Troy. Yes, please. I'm John Keller with Edward Jones. We work with people. I work with people in my practice who are planning on retirement, saving for retirement, actually living in retirement, saving for education, planning for the unexpected, or trying to save on taxes. If one of those 5 areas affects you, please give me a call. I'd love to help you. Thank you.
Very good. All right, let's see who's up next. Del, bring that lovely smile up here, please. That's you. Nice all dressed. There you go. It's yours.
Communication expert in the areas of public speaking, and I turn nervous, rambling talkers into confident, purposeful communicators, and I turn writers into authors. I'm Del. Look me up on the web at speakthroughme.com.
I tell you what, she has a little soothing voice here. Just kind of listen to it as you go to sleep at night. Just, oh my God, what a great voice. All right, here's our financial planner that does save you a bunch. Oh, Brett, I'm sorry you jumped up here. I'm looking over at it. Who's in there?
Good morning, Brett Carter with Service Master by Cornerstone. We are 24 hours, 7-day-a-week emergency service for things like water damage, cleanup, and biohazard or trauma cleanup. And we also have smoke damage cleanup. We have mold remediation, and corner and estate cleanup, and now we do soft contents cleaning and pack out. So, Service Master by Cornerstone Cleaning.
Thank you, Brett. We've used them an awful lot, and they do just such a... All right, now it's time for the guy that can save you lots of money on your taxes. You just follow his advice. Wiz?
Tax estate and business planning order. I have got a new client in that's been reading my Wealth Wise newsletter, and she said, we're going out of town, and we're just worried, what if something should happen? And so take care that when you go visit your families and whatnot, that you bring yourself back, or if you don't bring yourself back, you at least have a plan so that the rest of your family doesn't suffer along with your lack of plan. So come see me if you need a little estate planning time of year.
And also, we've had him speak many times. He has his tax-saving tips. Well, come here, most colorful lady in the room. Bring that purse up. You better bring that purse up. Come on, get that purse. Get that purse. Look here, folks. There she goes. Turn around. Show everybody. You gotta give her a round. You look so good. Miss Brenda?
I don't think I'm like. I was a singer for years, so I know I don't forget. I'm Brenda Huff, Shred Shop of Memphis. I do file storage,
shredding and hard drive destruction. We do shredding for as low as $10, hard drives for as low as $15. We do residential and commercial pickups. A lot of the big companies are having trouble doing the residential because of the big trucks going down your driveway. So if you need file storage shredding or hard drive destruction, call Brenda House Shred Shop of Memphis. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you, Gary. I was teasing her when she first showed up. I said, boy, shoes and pants and purse and earrings and bracelet, they all match.
Fairhope earrings.
Yeah, Fairhope. Yeah, there you go. Well, let's see where we want to start. Come on up. We're going to start over here. Did you want to say anything? You're going to be quiet, huh?
I came to learn from all you people.
Oh, okay.
But I can vouch for Joan. Joan is a very successful realtor that takes very good care of her clients.
Thank you.
Testimony. Shackley Chick, are you ready to come on up here?
Yes, I am. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Rena Lindsay, the Shackly. On your calendars right now, the 27th, that's next Thursday evening, meet me at the Racket Club for a home office visit from San Francisco. The guy is coming in and we got to support and show him that we are on the map in Memphis. So if you let me know, RSVP, I'll pay your lunch. If you know anybody, I'll pay you for your dinner. Come
I'm
early.
just kidding.
The Racket Club on Sanderland.
No, I meant dinner.
Okay, if you know really wants to go on a healthy kick, send them to Rena Lindsay, the Shackly Chick.
Boy, you trained us well. Really. All right. Where are we moving next here? Let's, well, Lorraine, come on up. You're with somebody new too, aren't you?
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
All right.
I'm still with one home computer called eBiz Solutions, and it's a wonderful company that really goes from the hardware that at home will take care of all your hardware needs. They are more into the software and the solutions of anything you need in IT for the software, and especially websites.
Good.
Thanks, Lorraine Ferguson, eBiz.
I like your card too. Nice.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's street ours. I'll have one next.
Very good, very good. Well, Michael, we haven't seen you in quite a while. Here's the traveler, heads out to California an awful lot. I'm hogged with that. We'll end it up. Michael, good to have you back.
Well, I gave them enough money, they give me a free shirt. My name is Michael Thomas. I'm a real estate investor. All I do is buy assets for me. I try to share the information with anybody who wants to learn how to do the same thing.
Good. Thank you, Michael. You're at the right place with what we're fixing to learn today. Are you two together? Come on up. Somebody. Now, I've never seen a bashful man up there. Come on up and say something.
Oh, come on, too, Katie.
Come on, Kate.
Yes, Kate, please.
All of a sudden, I'm being volunteered.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tim. I'm the president of Backup RX.
You are.
BackupRx.com. We are a company that provides disaster planning for computer systems and networks for businesses in this area. Essentially, what we do is we enable companies to survive a disaster of their IT systems and maintain their data, plus maintain their business productivity, so that a disaster doesn't become a catastrophe. The difference between a disaster and a catastrophe is just that you can recover from a disaster. You don't recover from a catastrophe. You go from it. So, anyway, this is my darling daughter. She is now my perky assistant. Thanks for the 5 seconds.
Katie, anything?
Oh, that's my dad.
I hope so. All right. Anything else?
Pretty much need help with anything, just give us a call. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Backup
Tennessee. We were talking about you folks last night out there, talking about how you have to, it's such a secured area, you know, having your information done. Well, we're going to bring out the other, one of the owners of this wonderful company we're fixing to hear from. You want to come up and talk a little bit at all? Well, Bradley Harris is our next speaker. Let's listen to what he has to say. You know, he's such a. I've had the opportunity. My wife has talked to him about what a wonderful speaker he is. And boy, he sure is. And I've enjoyed listening when he's had his presentation. Bradley, let's give him a warm welcome. He's always good to have you.
Bradley Harris is my name. I am by profession a writer and editor. School, I wanted to take the criminal law specialty. It's full, they said. How about business planning? I thought I was going to be so bored. Not. Which brings me here. One of the things that businesses almost never hire a writer to do is work on a business plan. Well over 1/2 of all small businesses fail. Over 1/2 of small businesses lack a written business plan, or lack at least a competently written business plan. I will not write yours. But what I will do is work with you hand in hand to produce a solid written business plan that works. Bradley Harris, see me, grab a card.
Well, folks, is that not fantastic? I'd like to pause up there just real quick. As I'm fixing to read my part of the Bible, and so anyway, I got slow Bradley Harris, pause Bradley Harris, emphasize. I started right down BH, which is Bradley Harris. So I learned how to talk and pause for just a moment, so you give people a chance to think about what you just said. Am I getting that down? Oh, I'm sorry.
Not now.
Got the bell. All right, come on up there. We're just, we got two more folks to leave us. Oh, Barb, we're going to get you up here too. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're kidding.
Come in.
I'm fashion accessories designer, and I committed the cardinal sin this morning. I did not wear anything that I made. Mistake. Ever, whatever you're, this is coming to me now. Whatever you're doing, make sure that you portray what it is you do and who and what you say you are. Show up as that. Beverly Warwick Designs.com.
Very good. All right, Nick, would you like to come up? Still busy. All right. Barb, would you like to come up and say anything?
Do I have to come up?
Well, you could just sit right back there and talk, yeah.
My name's Barb, guys. I'm with my husband. We do real estate, flipping, selling, lease purchasing, things like that. We've been doing this for about, a decade, and if you know anyone that wants to move in the Bartlett or Cordova area, let us know, because we have places, and that's it.
Okay, thanks, Barb. Good to have you here. Well, let's talk about our speaker today. We're very fortunate to have Philip Kemp here. I'll tell you a little bit about him. 13 years in the real estate and property management. He was raised in Baton Rouge. Did I say that right, Timothy?
You got it.
Louisiana. Graduated at Mississippi College, married with 3 kids, and he's an active member of Bellevue Baptist Church and a great LSU football fan. I'm for Ole Miss and Alabama, but he's interested in LSU football, kids, and sports. Let's give him a warm hot shot welcome.
Well, good morning. It's a privilege to be here. Do I need to use this?
Yeah. Well, you pick up better on the camera.
Okay. All right. I'll be glad to.
You don't have to, but you can. I'll try that. Right. Point at me. I'll be your.
I am with Reed and Associates. We're right around the corner here. We've got 13 years in real estate. Came to work with these guys straight out of college, so that's all I've ever done. Reed and Associates been managing properties for a little over 20 years. We do pretty much all single properties. We're a licensed brokerage, full service on the MLS. I'm a licensed broker, Tennessee, and licensed agent. So, kind of the title I gave talk today is Changing Perceptions in Memphis Property Management. If you talk to people about rentals in Memphis, sometimes there are Memphis Property Management a bad name. So we have named not to do that. We just choose not to participate in that. So if you kind of want to, or Beverly, there you go. So these are some properties that we manage currently. This may be kind of what you think of when you think of homes in the Memphis 700-900 a month, scattered, different. But we also have what I kind of call some unexpected Memphis area rentals. We have some higher end homes in some very nice areas of town. A couple of those. So those are houses in East Memphis, Cordova, up over 3,000 or 4,000 square feet, $3,000, $3,500 a month for some of these. Some newer construction down in South Haven. So we've got a good range of properties. Our average rents anywhere from $900 up to about $1,200 a month average. So we try to have just good, solid properties that we would be willing to live in, recommend to someone that we know for the most part.
Excuse me, Agent.
Yes. Yeah, we're a full service real estate company. So we do listings and sales and property management. We've built houses before, so pretty wide range. But the property management is our day-to-day business. Kind of just some terminology that we use: investors and homeowners. We work with a lot of what we would consider to be homeowners, where we are managing rental properties for them. Homeowners buy this house that we're managing for them as an investment. They may have inherited it. A lot of times they may have moved out, bought another house before that one sold. So they didn't purchase the property as an investment. It's probably not operating as an investment for them. A lot of times it may be more of a potential strain than an actual moneymaker. Or an investor is who we do a lot of our business with. They're buying properties as an investment. They're looking for them to perform as an investment, and they're treating the properties as an actual business transaction. Obviously, in our business, we want to work with both. There's plenty of opportunities. Just a couple of stories I've got throughout here. So this is a recent win for us with a homeowner client. This was a military family that got relocated away from the Navy base in the middle of 2008. Real estate, 2008, those things are just not a good mix for each other. Not a very good time for them to sell a house. They were underwater at that point, so we rented it 6 years, paid, and in the beginning of this year, the market had recovered. Obviously, their mortgage had paid down, so we helped them sell it at the beginning of 2015. So that's just I don't know that they made much of any money because of how they bought the house and where their notes and things solved the problem for however long they needed to. In this case, 6 years. A lot of times it's 2 or 3 years. So I kind of touched on a little bit of this, but entries into investment properties. There's a term you may or may not be familiar with called an accidental landlord. Accidental landlord can happen several different ways. people can inherit a house that they're just not sure what to do with. A lot of times it's that person that has sold their house. We kind of dealt with this more 2005 up through 2008, where people could get that second mortgage as long as they qualified. So they would, a lot of times seemed like it was Cordova to Lakeland or Arlington. They would keep their house in Cordova and go ahead and buy, their next larger house, Lakeland, Arlington, and keep it. And so we would help them. But again, they didn't buy that house as an investment. It's really not going to perform as an investment for them. They just kind of got stuck with it for whatever reason. A lot of investors, some of you guys may work with, looking just to diversify their investments. They may have quite a bit of money to invest. So they want to put some real estate in with their portfolio. They may have real estate trust and things they've invested in, but it's generally a good idea for investors to have, and once they get to a certain level, a percentage of their investments in physical real estate that they own. And then there's just a lot of people, it seems like some in this room today, are just interested in real estate. They like houses, they like working on houses, they like kind of upgrading houses, whether it's a flip or a hold. So just a good general interest in real estate. There's a reason that there's a number of cable channels directed to houses and fixing up houses and looking at houses, and we'll sit and watch people go look at houses. So that's just a general interest that people have. But you don't often hear somebody with a batch of rental properties that said, "I bought these 10 houses so that I could manage real estate." That's just not something that people get into, and a lot of times it is it's a necessary. It's just a function of the investment that they desire to have. So along those lines, this is one of our long-term clients from out in California, a guy that we've actually got to become over the last probably 7 or 8 years. He inherited some money and started looking in his area, and so he took that money that he had inherited, and he could have bought part of one rental property in California that would have produced a certain level of income for him, or instead he turned this into 4 houses in Memphis, all good, all of them up over square feet, brick homes, perform very well, not a lot of maintenance involved in these. So just kind of people from other parts of the country, people are looking to invest in just good, whether it's accidental or investing. Here is your best case scenario. You're in the best part of town, little to no repairs required, and then there's no debt obligations. You don't have a monthly minimum on the property. So this would be great if we had, hundreds and hundreds of these, but this just doesn't walk through the door every day. We've got a handful that I know of. So worst case scenario, the house is going to need renovations, need to be brought up, may have parts of it that have been vandalized, just not in a good location. And really one of the worst things that's just kind of painful, it's just not going to be a good long-term scenario, is where the investor or homeowner needs this month's rent to pay this month's mortgage. A lot of times those accidental landlord situations where, it's really just a strain on their budget. They need help. They really need a way out, but they may not have it right now. So again, we work with both. So when you kind of think about property management, it really boils down to these 3 things. You've got the people, the properties, and then the service. So the people is everybody that's going to run across this property. Obviously the owner, the investor, going to be a tenant, so those 2 at a minimum. Usually there's going to be vendors of some nature providing some type of service, and in our case, a property manager. So the property manager is going to come through and kind of help those other 3 work together, really be a facilitator, a service provider. So that's the people. The properties. The properties are a bigger part of it than most people realize, because a property that's just in a bad location, that doesn't necessarily mean, not in the best location, but, even within a neighborhood or a block, there are worse locations, high traffic corners and things like that. And so sometimes you've just got a property that's going to be difficult all on its own. And then really the service is what can make or break it. Whether it's a property manager providing the service, the owner handling it, whether the owner does their own repairs, hires vendors, a lot of those service aspects are really where the investment is going to perform or not. I kind of term this DIY property management. Again, you can turn on the TV any night you want to sit down and flip channels, and you can find a lot of DIY. There's people that are very capable, and there's people that doing it that really need some help on some of the aspects. So really, it comes down to knowledge. Have you done it before? Have you learned? Have you put any sort of effort into learning about real estate, what it takes, interpersonal relationships with tenants in hard times? There's good websites out there where you can pick up a lot of forums and articles and things to learn about these. It's availability. When are you planning to take on all these different things that need to be done within a rental property? What's your time frame? Are you working 50 or 60 hours a week on a traditional job and then trying to handle this, between 8 and 10 at night and all day Saturday, Sunday? And then interest. Kind of like I mentioned before, a lot of people are interested in real estate. So, if you've got the interest, you'll commit to the knowledge, and you'll, it gets people going. Interested in real estate, homes, just kind of things you've seen people doing, and so that's a lot of times that's a big entry point. And so people kind of pick which parts of those things are they going to do. So there are people that do all of it themselves. There are people that do part of it themselves. There are people that outsource their tenant selection. So we have a program where we'll find a tenant and you can manage it. Obviously, people outsource heating and air, electrical. Even a lot of people that are handy with paint, wood, sheetrock are going to have somebody come in to change out the plumbing in a house, change out a water heater. Some of those big ticket, a little more skilled items. So really every scenario is some part the owner doing something for themselves, and then a property manager and other service provider coming in and helping. Where people kind of have to make a decision if they are going to do it themselves or if they're going to hire a property manager like us to come in, comes down to these three areas: the hassles, the risk, and the cost. So first off, on the hassles of property management, really this is just managing the lease. This is day-to-day property management. This is, I see you shaking your head. I mean, this is all day, every day. This is tenant communication, answering phone calls. We have tenants that need all kind of just everyday requests, crazy requests. They need letters for their kids to get them re-registered for school. They need a copy of their lease, even though you just gave it to them 2 weeks ago to go get a driver's license renewed. This is just ongoing, kind of that interpersonal, are you available? Do you have time to handle some of those day-to-day things? Maintenance, repairs, things. Some things are just ongoing. We're dealing with a property right now, a good property that's having its third slab leak in the last 6 months. So somebody's missed the boat somewhere along the way with the general contractor that was handling the repairs through the insurance company. Somebody's missed it, and so far this tenant's been patient. But Ben was over there yesterday at 11 o'clock in the morning, and be back over there meeting the insurance company and contractors today at 1:30. So what's your availability when something just a little bit out of the ordinary comes up? Leasing is just getting the property rent ready, showing the property to potential applicants, going through some sort of screening process. There really needs to be a screening process in place, even for individual owners. Because a lot of times you just meet somebody, they don't throw up any red flags. I showed a property to a lady earlier this week that she drove up in a Mercedes. Everything looked good. House was nice. She was ready to go. Very nice. Seemed good. And the credit's not good, there's potential criminal, and the income's not really very good either. So if you're just kind of going on a field and moving somebody in, there's going to be some potential for mistakes there. Legal, you know, you may get a code enforcement violation. You may get a tenant that just kind of maybe starts to get late. So, you know, this is one of the areas where I think we really help our owners if they get into something that's beyond that just day-to-day property management. We've usually got at least 4 to 5 attorneys at any given time that we can pick up the phone and call that all kind of have different little areas of expertise in real estate, whether it gets into something with a closing or an eviction or a legal matter where somebody's threatening something or another. That's just kind of those ongoing things. And then just doing the admin, accounting, paperwork, proper accounting, not just being able to rent the house and fix it up and get them ongoing, but making sure then you can properly report that and document those things in the future. And then the risk, compliance is really a big one. We've spent some time in training over the last year or so with fair housing, Americans with Disabilities Act. There are certain things that you as a homeowner have to allow a tenant to do, reasonable accommodations, where they can come in and make certain changes to your property, major changes at times, at their cost, and you have to allow it. And if you try to step in the door and tell them, no, they're not going to do this, then you've got some really, really, really big federal risks on your hands there. One of the big ones is these animals these days. Service animals, pretty much everybody seems to be familiar with, been around for a long time. Most commonly think of as a seeing eye dog, something to provide a service for somebody with some sort of disability. A lot of times they're well marked. It's very clear what the intention is there. One of the new ones that's come along, I don't know if anybody's heard of it, is comfort animals. Comfort animals are usually prescribed by a doctor, so providing comfort instead of providing a service for a disability. Comfort may be for somebody that has, maybe any of a number, somebody that's lost a loved one and then needs a companion animal. So you have a no pets policy, and somebody shows up with a comfort animal that is, not a seeing eye dog or something you would have thought of before. You try to turn them away. Again, you're in federal court pretty quickly. So that's a hot topic in the property management industry right now. Kind of touched on, but big legal risk. If you handle an eviction improperly, you'll find yourself down at general sessions on the wrong end of a countersuit. There's notice provisions. Landlord-tenant law requires notices that must be given. So a lot of time what will happen with an individual owner do it themselves is somebody's paid on time for 4 or 5 years. They go along, they start slipping, they get a couple months behind, they just file an eviction. Well, you never gave any sort of proper notice. And then you end up losing several more months' rent for somebody that was a good tenant for a long, long time. Violations could be code enforcement violations, county ordinances, things like that. And then really the accounting and financial risk. Everybody's always worried about IRS, not letters anybody ever wants to hear or get some sort of letter from, but you've got to have a lot of proper documentation for quite a good period of time going back on your properties. And then really the cost of doing it yourself versus hiring a property manager. And again, we as property managers, we're not selling perfection. We're not telling you we can make it easy. We're telling you we can be here to help. These things don't go away, but we have the experience to go and help our clients with these things. Non-payment of rent is really one of the big ones. I kind of gave the example, but what we'll hear, and we get people calling us all the time looking for some sort of help, some sort of guidance on. I had a tenant in there that I thought we were friends, and they've been in there for 4 or 5 years and never missed it, and then they started getting 10, 20, 30 days late, and now they owe 3 or 4 months rent. And they just never make that decision to pull the trigger and either tell them to move or file an eviction if they won't. So just kind of being soft on rent. There's loss to vacancy as far as a house sitting for too long. Maybe it's overpriced. Just not aware of the market conditions that really would have told you should have taken that first person that came along that wanted to pay $25 a month less. So just loss to vacancy. Loss to lease is one a lot of times people just don't realize. You may be so desperate to rent a house, especially as you start to get into this time of year where we have owners that are just really get desperate if their tenant puts in a notice to move middle of November, end of November. Everybody thinks, oh, well, the house is going to sit for 3 or 4 months, which is really usually not the case. But so you rent that property for $100 less than market rent. Yes, you've got somebody in it, but you've cost yourself $1,200 over the course of the year. Negotiating with vendors. A lot of times, individual owners who are doing it will find themselves in really some sort of an emergency situation that happens. But then what you do is you call a large retail heating and air company or plumbing company that is more than happy to send somebody out there, over the Thanksgiving weekend. But a lot of times you're going to end up paying 3 or 4 times what it should have cost. And then just generally on repairs, taking too long. We'll have people that call us and they've just kind of been comes down to that availability. Kind of comes down to the house has been there for 3 or 4 months and they're getting bids. They're just not quite sure what they want to do, how much they want to spend, or it just they're doing too much or they don't want to do enough. So just kind of that balance of us kind of working in it all day, every day of what we try to advise. We've got one investor that's recently really just spent too much on a house that didn't need to be done. We didn't advise it. We really advised him not to. We said there's not going to be an increase in rent. And now he's questioning us of why they spend $12,000 to upgrade a condo that is still sitting there vacant because it's still not priced right. So really just being able to advise clients and just let our experience go to work with the different areas of town and different scenarios and things that do come up from time to time. This is really one of the big ones I think that people, it's a cost that you can calculate, but may not be aware of. Again, especially if it's just a side business. Showing properties, what is your availability? When are you going to handle those maintenance calls? If you're on your own, it seems like those things, of course, they're never truly expected, but they're generally going to be an inconvenient time. You sit, you're at a kid's ball game. You're at, sitting down for dinner on the weekend after, working a long time during the week, and then that's when something needs to be handled immediately. And really one of the biggest is on that financial of just the time to sit down and be able to do that proper accounting, so that you don't have just another mess on your hands at the end of the year. And then really the other type of cost is emotional. And this is another one that's just hard to quantify. With these emergencies, a lot of time it seems like a owner emergency and a tenant emergency overlap each other. So then the owner will have compounded their own family emergency with a tenant emergency at the most inconvenient time possible. Again, I've kind of harped on, but this is what we see. We see the owners that are just not doing a good job of collecting the rent or let it go too long because it was so easy and so smooth for so long. And so one of the things that trying to remind people is these are real people with real stories. You're one of the phrases that we have tried to eliminate around our office is it's just a rental. That implies a lot of things. That implies that it's just a tenant living in the house. Well, this is somebody's home. It's where they're raising their kids. It's not just a rental, and it's not just a tenant. They're real people with real stories, to where they're going to have kids that get sick, where they need to be late 1 month, and you may choose to allow that. But then when they're things drag on, if you had somebody standing between you and them to help you make a business decision, that's where there could be a lot of impact there on the actual performance of your investment. So, kind of what I said down there, is, we're a middleman, so we believe that people managing properties themselves need a middleman. It seemed like for a long time the middleman kind of got a bad rap, and probably rightly so in a lot of different areas. But somebody to act as a buffer between your emergencies and the emergencies of the tenants living in your house. So that's kind of what we do. We help handle the hassles. We're never promising to make them go away because they're just an inevitable function of managing rental properties. Help you avoid the risk, where we'll provide guidance. Our leases are reviewed by attorneys. I think, we've said before, our lease is probably about a $50,000 lease, because every time we've lost a little bit of money along the way, or one of our owners has, or something's come up, we add another line in the lease that's outside of just a boilerplate lease. And then really minimize those costs. That's what investors are looking for. Investors can put up with a lot of hassles, they can put up with a lot of inconvenience and emergencies and things like that, but the investment needs to perform. So again, for the real estate investors, we want to be part of the real estate investors team. You can go online on TurboTax and do your taxes, but most real estate investors probably don't. You can, go get all of your forms off of LegalZoom or U.S. legal forms, but a lot of them want to talk to an attorney about some of those things. So, in those same ways, most investors are not going online and purchasing their insurance through an online. They're working with a local agent. And so that's the same thing, one of the big differences with us, there are some companies that will only provide their level of service. It's their way or the highway. We're going to do it. We're going to handle everything for you. We're not going to handle anything at all. So we really try to offer like a customizable level of service. So we have some of our investors that they do some of their own repairs. They're actively involved in the management of their properties, whereas some of them are just completely hands off. They want us to handle everything, send them a statement with the accounting and a direct deposit every month. So again, we're just kind of helping investors run their business. So then it comes down to why Reed & Associates. We're experienced. Reed & Associates has been in business since the early 90s, been managing properties for almost 20 years. And again, one of the biggest things that we offer is Memphis Property Management is our core business. It's not an offshoot of a larger real estate company. There are people that set up property management companies as a side business, as something that they just kind of do. Maybe they're selling to investors and now they have to service those assets that they've sold to their investors. Again, a lot of the really large real estate companies have a property management division. So, Reed & Associates Property Management is what we do. And really, over the last few years, we've implemented several different technologies that allow us to do almost everything online with our investors and lots of communication and marketing for tenants, but we're still right around the corner from here. We're a small office. There's 5 of us. We're available, to talk with our owners while we're offering, the same level of service and technology that's now available to smaller companies like us that usually, 10 or 15 years ago would have had to been some proprietary software that had been created by a company that was able to do so. So that's kind of what we offer to our investors. Our current portfolio is about 500 single-family homes at any given time, over 100 investors. So 70% of our investors own just one house. Some of those are investors, some of those are homeowners. Half of them are outside of Memphis, and really a 50-50 split down the middle between investors and homeowners. People that are running a business and people that just need help solving a problem with the house that they have. I don't know how much time we have. Any questions? Anybody? Yes.
How do you handle renter's insurance with the tenant?
We, our lease requires renter's insurance. Most leases don't. We have just seen too many people, where you go out to a house fire and they just weren't aware that they were supposed to insure things themselves. The landlord can't provide any contents coverage. Insurable interest, all they can provide coverage on is what they own, and a lot of the tenants that we sit down with, so we try to make it clear that your lease calls for you, requires you to purchase and maintain that renter's insurance. Yes, sir.
Philip, I'm a tenant through another company. You made me wish I was yours. You talked about how you're different from other property management companies and that there were practices out there that you want to avoid. Tell us what a couple of those unfortunate practices are.
A lot of them have to do maybe more with the properties themselves than the property management companies. But we'll talk to owners where they say, well, I just can't make any more repairs. I'm not spending any more money on this property. No matter what, whatever comes, there's somebody living in the house paying rent, but I'm done. And so those are people that we try to screen through on the front end when at all possible, trying to figure out the people that we want to work with. Good houses, good people. So that's really one of the big ones that we hear about. I mean, if somebody comes, if a tenant comes to us and they're not just looking to make a move, they're fed up with the property management company. There's a lot of times where we know that the property management company's hands may be tied, so we try to filter through a lot of that by the people that we're working with the clients that we're taking on.
What do you charge?
Typically, we charge just a percentage of the monthly rent as an ongoing fee. There's a number of different fees that some companies charge, onboarding fees and vacancy fees and things like that. We've tried to set up our fees where when we do something, we get paid. Not when the house is sitting vacant, not when there's not a tenant in there paying rent. All right.
What happens when you find a tenant or find someone to buy it? What's it cost?
It's really whatever we've negotiated. We have different arrangements with different owners. I'm getting a wrap up signal. All right, last question.
If you get a house that needs a lot of just things done to it, maybe not even broken down, but it needs stuff done to it, maybe the market is in a larger house. Do you have any fun and charge? You have to deal with a lot of that.
Typically, we would just prepare a bid for the owner and let them select exactly what they want to do, what they don't want to do. A lot of times, we're not trying to make a new construction house here. We're trying to make a good, serviceable, structurally sound, mechanically going to function, and cosmetically be appealing. But you can spend a lot of money on every house trying to fix every little thing that we own.
All right, how about that? You learned a lot today, didn't you? Well done, well done. Well, let's see how much money we have over here, honey, and split the pot. We're going to draw out so everyone can get their coupons out.
$3.
$20. Somebody's going to walk away with $10 cash in their hand.
Okay. And the last three are 107.
107 gets $10. Wow. Almost going to get a fifth of a scholarship right there. Thank you very much. Okay. Do we
Who
have
did
a,
not get their business? I know, Bradley, you didn't get your business card, did you?
I did not.
Anyone else that did not get their business card at the door?
Ooh, all right, honey, take all those cards out, but please listen to this. Philip is so kind. $25 for a humdinger gift card. So we're going to mix them up. Anybody else want to put Joe? Mix them up, honey, Philip. Mix them up and then let you draw it. $25 gift card. Let's see who it is. Reach in there and let's see who it is.
John Keller.
John Keller, Edwin Jones. All right. This is profitable to come to this meeting. Brenda, you see? $25. That gets everybody here. This has been lots of fun, hasn't it? Once again, Philip, thank you. Just a wealth of information. Let me tell you just real quick a horror story. We were at Methodist Investment Group, and we had one of the guys talking. It was Halloween, close to Halloween. She was talking about horror stories that he had to run by. Well, they had a refrigerator taken. Somebody took both of my toilets out of my rental property, took the sink out. They walked away with all my carpeting. And one day I'm going to show up at the house, and the house won't be there. I thought, well, that is a real true horror story, and you've lived a lot of it, haven't you?
The horror stories are real.
Yeah, they really are.
Next
Well,
week, what's next week?
next week I think we have Mastermind, don't we? Mastermind. And Brenda, you coming next week? What you going to be next out in? Okay, good. I might.
Do you want to describe what mastermind is for
Mastermind here is where you learn the principles of
Napoleon
Hill in his book,
Mastermind.
how you work with a lot of folks that you need. People can put you in contact with a lot, whatever interest you have in doing business. So it's a wonderful organization. We've got John out there to kind of lead the group a little bit and really help. So anyway, as I say every Wednesday after class is over, class